Welcome back, everybody, to the New York Knicks, MyNBA franchise here on NBA 2K23. We have made it to the tail end of season number 3 in the series. We have made it past the All-Star break, and we only have 23 more games in the regular season to hopefully cement our first playoff spot of the series. Last episode, we went over the trade deadline, which there was a whole lot of moves that happened around the league. Many big names like Fred VanVleet, Anthony Simons, OG Anunoby, Julius Randle, amongst others being traded to teams looking to make playoff pushes. Of course, we had the huge 3-team deal with the Lakers sending LeBron to Dallas and Anthony Davis to Houston. And we made a move as well, sending away Emmanuel Quickley along with some other assets to the Hawks in exchange for Paul George. He's not the same PG that he used to be, but he is still playing at a very high level and hopefully can cement our spot within the top 6 in the Eastern Conference, because that's really what we've been striving for this season. We want to get one of those top 6 spots. We don't want to have to worry about the play-in tournament. We want a guaranteed postseason bid, and it's really close right now. We're currently a game ahead of Indiana. There are a number of other teams not too far behind us and the Pacers as well, so if somebody gets hot, they very well could pass us. So we've got to keep playing good basketball here in the second half of the season. The Western Conference is also very close. The Rockets and Pelicans are comfortably the top 2 seeds, but after that, it is a whole log jam of like 10 or 11 teams fighting for playoff spots between the 3 and 13th seed. So it'll be very fascinating to watch both conferences play out here through the rest of the regular season. Obviously, as I said earlier, we acquired Paul George, who's played 4 games with us. Oddly enough, his best performance was the one game we lost with him against his former team, the Atlanta Hawks. But I think he can really provide a veteran presence and a guy who can be the #1 scoring option for the offense, while being the final piece to the puzzle, at least in terms of getting a postseason spot. I'm not entirely convinced this team can make a run quite yet. I don't think we're quite at the level of Cleveland or Charlotte, but I do think we can be one of the 5 or so best teams in the conference. We also have another prospect profile today. Of course, we have 2 first-round picks this year, our own and the Bulls pick. The problem is the Bulls pick is top 10 protected, and they are really, really bad. So we are probably not going to get that pick. That could be really valuable next year if they're still bad, because it'll be unprotected. But it's likely we're only going to have 1 first-rounder this year, at least going into the offseason. So as we talked about in the last prospect profile, I think there's going to be a lot of guys down the board who move up into the top 10 range. However, there hasn't been a lot of movement in season. I think the top 4 guys are kind of set. It's just about the order. I personally think we'll see Noah Kogan or Zachary Archibald go #1 overall. But let's talk about some players who we have not gone over yet, starting with Sterling Holloway. Holloway is a 6'7" combo guard from England. His best trait is his passing. He's a phenomenal floor general. He's got really impressive basketball IQ for his age. In terms of a score, it's certainly a mixed bag. I think he's got a high ceiling in terms of a shot creation ability, but he's really inefficient right now from all areas of the floor scoring-wise, and I think some of his scoring grades here are generous. He does score a lot of points, but it's because of a lot of volume, and he needs to shoot the ball at a higher level. Defensively, he's not great either, but I like his passing and his playmaking, and I think he can be a good scorer down the line. The next group of players we're going to go over are some of the late lottery guys, and that includes Constantino DiCarlo. His name is supposed to be Constantino, but apparently that's inappropriate according to 2K. This is the younger brother of Knicks point guard Cesar DiCarlo, who, as we know, is a very good player when he's on the floor, which is quite rare. I think Constantino DiCarlo, his health seems to not be a problem, which is good. I do really like his skill set. I think he can be the modern NBA wing. He's got good size, he's got long arms, he's got a good frame. He's a pretty impressive athlete, as you can see here in transition, driving the lane, scoring in contact. He is a fine shooter. He needs to improve on that area, but I think there is a lot of promise with his shooting ability. Pretty good playmaker for his size, pretty solid defender. So he really checks all the boxes. There aren't really any weaknesses with his game, so because of that, I think he's going to be a high-floor, solid role player right away. Ray Hendricks, coming out of Washington, is your traditional slasher. He can do just about everything except for shoot the ball. He's not a guy who's going to space the floor, but he's really athletic. He has a very high vertical jump. He uses his size and length to his advantage on the defensive end of the floor, and I do think he is one of the best perimeter defenders in this year's draft. It's just a matter of him being able to get a consistent jump shot, being able to create his own shot, because outside of the paint, he's a total liability on offense. So I think he's a little bit raw, but the ceiling with him is high. Brendan Nord from Arizona State is sort of the opposite. This is a guy who is a good shot creator, particularly from inside the three-point line. Very inefficient as a three-point shooter, but I do think he is good form in terms of shooting. He's a really good mid-range scorer, really good three-throw shooter, very solid defender, and a guy who has improved a lot in terms of scoring in contact. He's a decent playmaker, really good defender. So I think if he can improve his three-point shot, this is another guy who's going to be a really consistent role player for a long time in this league. And I think with his ability to shoot mid-rangers at a high level, there's no reason to think he can't improve as a three-point shooter. Raymond Robinson from Louisville is more explosive and dynamic than your favorite player. This guy can get to 0 to 180 really quick. He's fast, he's twitchy, he's physical on the defensive end of the floor, and then in transition, man, this kid could absolutely fly with and without the ball in his hands. You give him some room to make a play, and he will throw it down. I think the issue with Robinson is his overall consistency, but I do really like his skill set. He's an inefficient but solid scorer with a lot of upside in that area. Great defender, great pass runner. He's got really good size, 6'5", 200 pounds. He's more of a point guard, but he can guard wings as well, which I think goes to his advantage. Let's take a look at some of the fringe lottery guys here. A lot of good players in this range, probably around where the Knicks are going to pick. I think Zachariah Royster out of Purdue is a very fascinating player. This is a 6'10" forward who plays like a guard, but has the size down low of a center. I think with his positional flexibility on the defensive end of the floor, he's going to be really good at the next level. He's a great interior defender, very solid within the perimeter. He's a really good scorer from inside the three-point line, and he's a really impressive passer. The only issue with him is his three-point shooting. He just doesn't really shoot threes at all. That's not a part of his game. But everything else you really like. Good scorer from inside the arc, good playmaker, versatile defender, athletic, IQ. He checks all the boxes minus spacing the floor. Dalen Carter-Jones out of Kentucky is your traditional 3-and-D guy. This is a guy who can space the floor, hit the three ball at a high level, pretty good defender, and he's a really good player off the ball. He knows how to cut to the basket, as you can see there, grabs the rebound, throws down the dunk. Now, his three-point shooting is inefficient. I think the C grade is a little bit disrespectful, though. I think he is a better three-point shooter than that suggests. So if he can just be a little bit more consistent and efficient, he's going to be a really good shooter down the line. Alexander Killebrew from Texas. This is the younger brother of Christopher Killebrew from the Utah Jazz. We're going to get a closer look at Christopher Killebrew later today in this episode. But let's go back to little bro. Alexander Killebrew did not quite hit the genetic lottery of his brother. He's about 6 inches smaller at 6'7", so he does not necessarily have the freakish size that Christopher Killebrew does, but he's still a really solid player. Defensively, this kid is a monster. He's intimidating, he's tough, he's physical, he forces turnovers, as you can see there. He does need to improve offensively, but he is a really good athlete. He's a lob threat. He can cut to the basket. He can score in contact. It's just a matter of him improving his shooting ability because he's not a very good three-point shooter at the moment. But this is another guy who I think overall from inside the arc is a pretty good shooter. He can score in the mid-range. He can score from the foul line. So I think he will improve as a three-point shooter. Judas Zabudobe is a 7-foot big man out of the University of Connecticut. This is a guy who really moves well for his size. 7-footers as big as him should not be able to move the way he does. He's a really impressive shot creator for his size, so because of that, his offensive upside is really, really high. Defensively, he's pretty solid. He's a decent enough playmaker. I just think he's a little bit raw in terms of the little things, but I think this kid's ceiling is really, really impressive. Going down the board now, there are some pretty good players down here. We'll be talking about some of these guys who we don't mention today later on, so you'll get to see some of these guys highlighted. But I do want to look at Slash Mayo. This is for brother of Splash Mayo, currently on our Knicks. As you can see here, there's a lot of family connections within this draft class. Slash Mayo lives up to his name because he's not necessarily the shooter that his brother is, but I think he's a little bit more athletic, and I think he's a little bit more well-rounded as a player. Good defender, good passer, and again, this guy is much more athletic than his brother. Obviously, Splash Mayo had the vertebrae injury, so that took some athleticism away. But nonetheless, I do think Slash Mayo overall is a little bit more well-rounded than his older brother. He's just not the scorer or shooter that he is. So I think Slash Mayo from Baylor could be a really interesting pick in the back end of the first round. And while we're on the subject of family connections, I want to take a look at a couple of twins. This is Kepri Kane. He is originally from Egypt, currently plays at BYU, along with his twin brother Osiris Kane as well. We'll start with Kepri Kane, who I think is the more traditional player. He's a talented 6'5" wing. Not great at scoring in contact, but as you can see, high effort player there on the second chance putback. This is a guy who's a really impressive athlete. Put his head in steam and he will fly. I think he's going to be a easier projection than his twin brother because I think he's just more of a consistent player. Not a great three-point shooter, but he's a very good scorer from inside the arc. So again, I think he will improve as a three-point shooter. Osiris Kane, to me, is a little bit more of a wild card. He's a 6'8" point guard, essentially. He's an unbelievable shot creator, even though he is a little bit efficient. There are some really impressive plays where you watch him and your jaw is on the floor. Another guy who's a pretty impressive athlete in transition, and I do think he is the better playmaker compared to his brother, hence why he's the point guard and runs the BYU offense. I think he's a little bit better of a shooter as well. He just takes a little too many chances in terms of passes and offensive opportunities, so he turns the ball over a lot. There's a lot of really good plays with him, but a lot of really bad plays. Again, we'll talk about some of these other players as we get closer to the draft as well. I just wanted to highlight both of the Kane twins since they kind of go hand in hand together. And while we're on the connection of family, we have one more player here, and it is a little bit special because we have seen Buzz Wigginton from the Sonic series. We've seen his son enter the league. We've seen Kyril Story's two sons enter the league. But what about Oscar J. Basile? For those unfamiliar with Oscar, get your head out of the sand and watch the Sonic series playlist. Oscar J. Basile is a dynamic, unbelievable scoring guard. He won multiple MVPs. He's an unbelievable shot creator. He's a ridiculous athlete who could poster just about anybody. This is his son, Devontae J. Basile. He has an interesting build, 6'6", 240 pounds. He's bigger and stockier than his dad. Obviously, that takes a little bit of athleticism away, but he is still really athletic for his size and should be a major lob threat in the league. He's very versatile on defense. I think with his size, he can bang down low with the big fellas, but he's also got enough quickness on the perimeter. He's not the scorer and shooter that his dad is, but other than that, he is a really well-rounded player for being projected probably as an early second-round pick at the moment. So there you go. That's our prospect profile for the day. Let me know what players you liked down below in the comments, and we'll continue to deep dive on some more players as we get closer to the draft. Let's now bring our focus back to the current Knicks team. We've got 23 games left to go in the season. I want to take a look at the Utah Jazz. They're right in the thick of things in the Western Conference playoff race. We have made it to the contract extension deadline. There are only two players who are technically eligible for contract extensions, that being Paul George and John Collins. We cannot re-sign either of them at the moment. In the two games we simmed, we ended up going 2-0. We blew out a really good Pistons team. Shout out to DJ Ramses with 22, 8, and 6. The rest of the team with a very well-rounded game. Only 10 points for Paul George, but he filled up the stat sheet otherwise. And then a nice win here against the Blazers. Paul George with 25 points, his most as a Knick. DJ with a double-double as well. We are currently still the 6th seed as the Pacers also won their first two games after the All-Star break. So let's look at the Jazz, who are currently tied for 10th in the Western Conference. So pretty much every game is important for Utah. Obviously, they're led by the big fella, Christopher Killebrew, who's a really, really good young player. They have multiple other double-digit per game scorers with D'Angelo Russell, Colin Sexton, Ochai Agbaji, Rock Chalk, and the rookie Babatunde Precocious. He's a player we thought about drafting. He was picked 10th overall, right between the 9th pick, DJ Ramses, and the 11th pick, Coco Diablo. Precocious is a little bit banged up, but it does look like he will play today, so I am excited to get a look at him, see what we missed out on, I guess, although I'm quite happy with how our draft turned out. So this should be a fun one here at the Madison Square Garden as the New York Knicks and the Utah Jazz face off. Two teams with a whole lot to play for, as the Knicks currently have the last playoff spot in the Eastern Conference, whereas the Jazz currently have the last play-in spot in the Western Conference. Killebrew and Wiseman, a couple of number 2 overall picks, meet at center court for the tip. It goes to Wiseman, and we are underway between the Jazz and the Knicks. 1-0 game here. DJ Ramses with it. He gets it over to Collins. Collins hands it back off to Ramses. Lets it fly from deep. DJ Ramses hits the 3. 4-1 now. D'Angelo Russell's at the free-throw line. He misses that one. The Knicks quickly running the floor. Look at R.J. Barrett go, scoring in contact as he makes the layup, and the Knicks look good early. They lead 6-1. Ramses gets it over to Paul George, who connects on the triple. Everything is going well here within the first couple of minutes for the Knicks, who lead this game 9-1. Here comes Colin Sexton inside. He gets the layup. Utah scores their first field goal of the game as it's 9-3. R.J. Barrett trying to make a play. Gets it over to Paul George, who drives by the defender and throws it down. Two-handed slam for Paul George. He's got 5. The Knicks lead 13-3. About 5 seconds left on the shot clock. Sexton in the corner for a wide-open Precocious, and it rims out. Nothing is falling right now for the Jazz. How about the following possession now? Killebrew with it. Looks to go inside. His shot rims in and out. The Jazz are just so unlucky right now. They have 1 field goal made in the first 5 minutes of the game. Paul George on the screen. Deep 3 is good. PG's got 10 here in the opening minutes. Look at the scoreboard. The Knicks lead 16-3. Utah's got to answer. Russell's blocked. Gets it back over to Harrison Barnes, who hits a huge 3 for the Jazz. Utah needed that bucket to fall. They've got to get into a rhythm offensively. Here's Kennedy Chandler off the bench with a nice move. He hits a jumper, and now Utah is starting to figure some things out a little bit. That's back-to-back possessions with baskets, trying to make it 3 in a row. Here's Chandler in the corner, lets it fly from deep. What is happening? The Utah Jazz have, flipped a switch with the second unit now in the game. 16-11. Barnes inside for the big fella, Walker Kessler, who throws it down on the dunk. The Jazz are on a 10-0 run at the moment, and now it's the Knicks who can't seem to score anything. Kessler blocks Reddish. Here comes Utah. Barnes inside, and 1 for the Jazz, and they're going to look to tie it. That's Justice Winslow making the play as he goes to the free-throw line here, trying to tie the game. He misses the free throw, but the Jazz get the rebound and the putback. That's Harrison Barnes. The Jazz are on a 14-0 run, and they are now winning. The Knicks have completely forgotten how to play offense here. Kabongo, easy shot inside. It rims out, and now it's the Knicks who can't seem to hit anything. Here comes Winslow inside, makes a nice move for the layup. If you're getting cooked by Justice Winslow on offense, there are some real issues. Kabongo inside for Diablo. He misses the layup. The Knicks bench has given them 0 points today. Just disgraceful. On the other end, it's Ochai Agbaji who hits the jumper, and now the Jazz are on an 18-0 run since both teams put the second units in. Agbaji with it again, sends it in the corner for Kennedy Chandler, who misses the 3. Jazz get the putback, miss it at the buzzer. Well, that was an interesting first quarter of basketball. The Knicks led 16-3 at one point, and now they're down 23-16. Utah is on a 20-0 run, and the Knicks need to get some baskets. There's a good start. Paul George hits the 3. Paul George has 13 of the Knicks' 19 points tonight. Everybody else only has 6. Here comes Sexton inside for Killebrew with the throwdown. Nice dunk by the former Kansas Jayhawk. Couple of Kansas players on this Jazz team with Killebrew and Ochai Agbaji, as Barrett sends it in the corner for DJ Ramses. Now the Knicks offense is starting to find a groove again. With the starters back in, they're starting to play well again. Nice open look for D'Angelo Russell, who hits the 3, and the Jazz offense is picking right where they left off. Step back for Colin Sexton, looking to beat the shot clock, no good, but Killebrew is there for another rebound and putback. The Jazz lead 34-26 with about 4 minutes to go in the quarter as Collins snuffs the shot. Both defenses, for the most part today, have been really impressive, forcing turnovers left and right. Barrett hits the deep 3 for the Knicks. They make it a 5-point game, 34-29. Very, very low-scoring game today as Collins blocks another shot, that time from Brown. On the other end, here's Paul George with a nifty move for the dunk. PG's got 17 points tonight. He has been fantastic. Diablo draws the double. Somebody's going to be open. It's Reddish. Pump fake inside for Kabongo. Great ball movement on that possession by the Knicks. Unselfish basketball. Great passing. Good finish. 36-33 now. Diablo rips it away. Looking to make a play in transition as he sends it over to Cam Reddish, who tries to get by the defender, over to Mayo for the dunk. Again, great ball movement, great passing. That's what we're trying to build this team around. Guys who can create plays for others, and we're seeing that there on back-to-back possessions as Splash Mayo gets the dunk, trying to stare down Walker Kessler. 36-36 now. The Knicks looking for the lead. Diablo's a wide-open man. It's Cam Reddish. And Killer Cam hits the three to put the Knicks ahead. New York's offense is on a roll the last couple of minutes, certainly contrary to how they ended the first quarter. Kabongo blocks the shot from Chandler. On the other end, Knicks looking to make it a two-score game, and it's Killer Cam Reddish with the dunk. He's got 7, 38-42. Harrison Barnes trying to make a play. He gets it over to Agbaji, and Ochai Agbaji will hit the three for the Jazz. 41-42 now, seconds left in the first half. Feinstein with the screen for Coco Diablo. Back to Feinstein, heaves it up at the buzzer. Won't fall. It's been a really weird game today. Both teams have gone on runs offensively, I guess you could say. Overall, neither team is shooting the ball very well. There have been a lot of turnovers. Both teams are doing a great job of really making it hard, particularly inside. Both teams are shooting very low from the paint today, which is a big reason why the offenses are struggling. D'Angelo Russell looking to get the Jazz started off strong here in the third as D'Lo hits the jumper to make it 43-42. Barrett gets the screen inside for John Collins, who goes inside. Collins kind of heaves up a prayer, and it somehow falls in for the layup to put the Knicks back ahead. 43-44 now. Russell guarded by Jackson Watkins. You may notice DJ Ramses is not on the floor. He currently has 4 fouls, so the Knicks are trying to be conservative with using him, as Sexton's floater has Utah back ahead. 45-44. Wiseman has a wide-open man. It's Paul George. Bold strategy for the Jazz not to cover him because PG has been on fire all night. 45-47. Watkins for Collins, who gets the dunk. Good play by Watkins to read the situation. He saw nobody was inside, and John Collins flushes it down. How about another one? John Collins has gotten off to a busy start here in the third. The Knicks offense looking very good out at the halftime break. Killebrew with the floater, no good, but he's right there to get the putback, and the Jazz cut it to 4. 47-51. Precocious over to Killebrew. He finds Bruce Brown inside and one. Big play by Bruce Brown to make it a one-score game. 50-53 now. Russell draws the double. Somebody's wide open, and it's the big fella, Christopher Killebrew. He can shoot it. He's a better three-point shooter than his shorter brother, who we talked about earlier today. The Jazz looking to get another three, and that one's going to fall from Harrison Barnes. 57-58, Knicks back ahead. Here's Ochai Agbaji with the screen, lets it fly. Agbaji's got another one, giving the Jazz some good minutes off the bench tonight. 60-58, Diablo with the screen, heaves one up, and that one is good. Coco Diablo hits the triple for the Knicks. 60-61, here's Kennedy Chandler with it. Looking to make a play. Back out to Ochai Agbaji yet again. Agbaji is heating up. The Knicks are going to have to counter that, so they're going to try to get Coco Diablo heated up as he heaves up another three, and it's good. Agbaji and Coco are both dominating right now. Coco's red hot, so this is kind of the heat check moment for him. Heaves up a shot that he shouldn't have, but it goes in. Coco Diablo cannot miss right now. 3 straight possessions with Coco threes. Why stop now? Step back. Another one? No good. I think the roof would have exploded if he made that. Kabongo tries to get the putback, but he's blocked. Later in the third, at the buzzer, Coco, bang! Hits a three to end the third quarter. What a run for Coco Diablo, who hits a quartet of triples, and the Knicks lead 70-63. Now 70-65. Coco out of the game, so somebody's going to have to provide a spark of offense. Maybe it's John Collins who gets the dunk off the pick and roll. 66-72. Coco right back in. Double step back. Heaves it up, and it is good! Coco Diablo is incredible. This is not a normal play. Starts beyond the three-point line, double step back, heaves up a prayer, nothing but net. There's a reason why the Knicks refused to trade him at the trade deadline. It's because he is a gifted offensive player. The Jazz answer right back. It's once again Ochai Agbaji, Rock Chalk Jayhawk. Diablo looks to make another play, sends it over to Barrett. Barrett finds a wide open man. It's Paul George looking to get back into a groove. George shooting the ball phenomenally from beyond the arc tonight. Knicks up by 7. Screen from Killebrew, who gets it off the tip and makes the shot inside. It really is not fair being 7'3". Christopher Killebrew is just a different beast. Here's Kabongo of the free-throw line, misses, but Wiseman is there for the rebound and the poster. 13 boards tonight for James Wiseman, doing all the dirty work. I'm surprised he has that many because Christopher Killebrew is the NBA's leader in rebounding. Nice block by Kabongo, but Sexton gets it right back for the layup. 77-80 with about 4.5 to go. Here's Paul George looking to make another play as he goes inside for the slam. Paul George may be 34 years old, but he still has a lot left in the tank. 78-82. George with it again. Wash, rinse, repeat. Paul George is balling tonight for the Knicks. He's up to 27. 78-84. George's three won't fall, but Ramses gets the putback dunk. Another heat check moment for George, but what a great play by DJ Ramses. The awareness to quickly rise up and throw it down. 78-86 with 3 to go. Russell guarded by Ramses. 6 on the shot clock. Over to Killebrew. Can't find anybody open. Great defense by the Knicks. Russell heaves it up, and it is good. D'Angelo Russell. D'Lo hits the 3. 81-86. Ramses gets it over to George. 30-ball Paul. He's got 30 tonight as he hits another 3. 91-81 with 2 minutes to go. The Knicks in the driver's seat, but Killebrew gets the slam to cut it to 8 as the Knicks call a timeout. As you may notice, Coco Diablo is on the floor, not RJ Barrett. The Knicks trust Coco a little bit more right now. They also trust Paul George quite a lot. He seems to be the go-to guy, and for good reason, as he hits another 3. 83-94. Russell with a nice spin move, but he's blocked by Wiseman. On the other end, Coco over to George. George, another dunk! Paul George has like 6 or 7 dunks tonight. It's pretty incredible. The Knicks looking to ice it. What a block by Wiseman. On the other end, here comes George. Step back, 3-ball. No good. If he made that, again, I think the roof of this place would have exploded off. 85-96 with 30 to go. The Jazz looking for a miracle as the shot is no good. Utah with the rebound. 3-pointer in the corner. That's Babatunde Precocious with his first points of the game. And now it's time to start playing the foul game probably after this possession as Russell hits the corner 3, cutting the lead to 5. Who's going to get the ball here for the Knicks late in the game? I think there's only one answer. Got to give it to Paul George. He has been dominant all night long. He's got 35 points. I believe George is up to 15 in this quarter, as the first one is good. The second one with an opportunity to make it a 3-possession game, and Paul George drains it. He's up to 37, his most as a Knick. The Jazz are kind of heaving on to a threat at this point. Contested 3 by Precocious won't fall, and that'll pretty much wrap this game up. 91-98 your final. The Knicks with a really exciting win over the Jazz. This was a very complicated game. I mean, the first quarter we were up 16-3, and then we were losing by a lot. The star of this game was certainly Paul George with 37 points, 13 of 21 from the field, 7 of 13 from 3. George was great in the first half. He was great in the second half. He was clutch in the fourth quarter. Definitely his best performance as a Knick. Coco Diablo was really good late in this game off the bench. He caught fire in that third quarter, and if he didn't, I think Ochai Agbaji really could have exploded, leading the Jazz to being in a much better position going into the fourth quarter. The only problem is Coco, despite shooting 5 for 7 from 3, went 0 for 6 from 2. That's not good. DJ Ramses with 11 points in just 15 minutes. He didn't play as much today because he was in foul trouble pretty much the whole game. Double-double for Collins. Wiseman with 15 boards. As for the Jazz, Russell and Agbaji led the way with 16, and Ochai Agbaji only got that on 9 field goal attempts. 14 and 11 for Killebrew. He wasn't great offensively, although defensively he was certainly a force, him and Walker Kessler, because we really could not get anything going inside. As for the rookie Precocious, not a great day, 1 for 10 from the field. Oddly enough, both teams shot the ball horribly from 2. The 3-point percentages for both teams are better than the 2-point percentages, so nobody could shoot 2s well. Both teams shot their 3 throws poor, but they were both great from beyond the arc. Kind of odd. We're going to simulate our next 7 games here over this 2-week stretch. Obviously, the one that pops out is the game against Charlotte. I'm really curious to see how we do against them because I think they're the best team in the NBA right now. We've got some pretty easy games. The Wizards, Lakers, and Bulls all stink. We should absolutely win all 3 of those. The Celtics are good, but we usually beat them. And then I would suspect we split one with the Clippers and Hawks. I think both of those teams are right around our level. So realistically, we should go 5-2. We beat the 3 bad teams, we beat Boston, and we win one of the other games. RJ Barrett hurts his foot. Not a long-term injury, but it seems like RJ is getting injured every other episode. Coco Diablo will slide into the starting lineup. Look at this. Cesar DiCarlo. His knee injury is pretty much all the way better. And now it is officially 100%. So he returns to the lineup along with RJ Barrett. And now the entire team is fully healthy. So this is what the rotation is going to look like with everybody on the floor. Unfortunately, no playing time for Jackson Watkins. It's just that we have too many healthy guards ahead of them. How many games will the team stay entirely healthy? Around 2. Cam Reddish hurts his knee. He'll be out 1 to 2 weeks. So we ended up going 3-4 in that stretch. We lost all 3 games to the 3 really bad teams, including scoring 77 against the Lakers. That's not good. On the bright side, we beat the Clippers, Celtics, and Hawks, and we only lost to the Hornets by 5. In the games where the team was fully healthy, we went 2-1, only losing to Charlotte by 5, and then beating Boston and Atlanta. As it stands now, we're still the 6th seed. We're still 1 game ahead of Indiana, so we didn't really make up any ground there. And as we go into the next episode, I plan on wrapping up the regular season. We're finally going to hopefully clinch our first playoff spot of the series in that next episode. If not, then something would have gone horribly wrong. So let's see if we're going to be able to do it here in our final 13 games of the year. Should be fun. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.